Antoine is going to be crowned your WOR Season 10 champion.
And history's been made. Ballina, the first WOR PS4 champion. What a championship! What a season! Absolutely phenomenal!
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to WOR Season 11. We're at the penultimate round of this season. It is Abu Dhabi. It was meant to be the new circuit at not Sri Lanka, Saudi Arabia, but things have had to be moved. We've not got the new track for Abu Dhabi either. We are sticking with the 21 corner circuit from the 2020 season, and I am joined once again by Beacon for what is proving to be an absolutely incredible season.
It absolutely is. Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to be back in the comments box. Hope everyone is having a great Monday. But, like you say, we've only got 2 more races now. It has been a long and very hotly contested season, and we still have 4 drivers in with a chance of taking the crown. We've got one last blast around the old format at Abu Dhabi. So, the question is, of course, are we going to be seeing a champion crowned today in Ronha? Or will it go to the last race?
It's an interesting one, and Imola, I think, gave us more questions than answers when it came down to it as well. I really don't know how this one's all going to, the lay of the land has just been ruffled even further. No answers really given. Ronha not finishing on the podium, Shadow not there. We thought Ronha would extend his lead to more than just the solitary 6 points it is at the moment. Sparks has come back into this and really given us a run for our money with knowing how it's all going to run out. And rightly said, Square is still in for a shout of this. An really outside chance. But if he wins today, he's done everything he needs to do.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the most that he can do today. He has had some awful luck earlier on in the season, and he'll be feeling like he deserves to be a lot closer to the front, and he has a chance to do that today. But of course, he has to rely on effectively Ronha and Shadow, both having a rather bad day at the office. Ronha, he's finished the last 4 races, not a single one of them on the podium. So he is... He's been struggling in these last few races. It's sort of fallen away just a little bit, but he does nonetheless come into the last race with a championship lead. Not a large one, but a championship lead after, of course, Shadow wasn't able to race last week. So it's pretty interesting. Sparks is definitely in with a shout if he wins this race as well. He'll probably be there or thereabouts coming into the last race, especially as a sort of outsider. It could all be really good, but of course, this is a decider of whether we are going to have a decider, I suppose. So, that'll be interesting to see who comes out on top, because it's going to be entirely plausible. If Shadow wins today, no matter what, he will have retaken the lead in the championship coming into the last race. So he knows a win is absolutely vital as well. Really, for all of the drivers, they need to win.
Now, I think... I don't know what question I want to ask you first. I'll go with the chat first. Chat, do you think the championship is going to be decided today? And secondly, I guess I'll pass it on to you, Beacon, as well. Is there going to be a deciding factor in all this today, or is this going to go down to Brazil next week?
I'm going to, just through the pure hope in my heart that it's going to go down to Brazil, I'm going to have to go with it. Also, to be fair, I can't really see Ronha absolutely dominating and beating. I did some quick maths, and it might be right. He would need to outscore Shadow by 21 points today. I'm not sure if he's actually managed to do that at any point in this season, looking at it. He's done it once, and that was DNF. So that's what it would take, a win and a shadow DNF, basically. So I'm gonna, keep my fingers crossed and hope that it goes down to the last race, because we really could be in for something special.
Now, Dark Killer's just snitched in front of the Aston. Oh no, it's not. Who's that? It's an Alpine. I got that wrong. Please don't hurt me. That is Alfie, who we've known for a long time to have a really, really great one-lap pace. And are we thinking again today that it's going to be the likes of Alfie, Dark Killer, maybe even Critch, who's just come into this season and absolutely stormed a win at Imola? Do you think it's going to be one of the outsiders, the backup brigade, so to speak, that is going to shine today and cause these championship leaders to have a real struggle?
Well, yeah, potentially. As I think I tweeted earlier on when WOR on Twitter put out the original post for this race. We've got so many drivers now as the season's gone on who are more than capable of just getting a podium. Like, we could have easily a top 4 that doesn't involve Ron Hart or Shadow. That is entirely possible. And it's happened quite a few times this season. Well, once or twice this season. So, and as the season's gone on, we've got Critch in here, we've got Alfie in here, we've got Square in here as well. And have we got Square in here, actually? That's great. I don't think we do have Square in here, do we? Because we've got Leopard and Mulder. So Square is categorically out of the championship battle. And is that the first race he's missed this year? It is the first race he's missed this year. So that's not ideal for himself. I'm not being blind, am I? He is not on this list.
No, I can't see him here.
Okay, good. Or not for him, but yes. But however, Sparks is here, and he actually told us last week that he is, he's out here now to help Shadow win this championship. And by beating Ronha, he's done the hard work pretty much there.
Yeah, but it's not all that, He needs Shadow to produce as well. And while at times it's not always been going great for Shadow, there's 2 races, believe Belgium and was it Austria? Didn't all go well for him. No points at all. He has won the most races this season. 4 races to, I think the closest is then Ronha with only 2.
Yep. Yeah, it absolutely is. It means that Ronha can only go even on count back with Shadow if they do end up drawing this season, in which case I think it goes to second places, doesn't it? Where, actually looking at it, well, it depends where Shadow finishes, we'll have to wait and see on the rest of the season. But yeah, it's entirely possible they end up drawn on wins over the course of the season, which is, to be fair, something quite mega. They've done a brilliant job between them, but it hasn't been as dominant as the table itself would suggest.
I know we spoke briefly. I know qualifying is well underway now. Yellow flags all over the place. 13 minutes gone. Let us know in the chat if you think, it's going to be Ron Har or a Shadow Pole or someone else. There's a few drivers out there that can claim pole position today. So let us know in the chat, and I'll go back to asking you.
Sparks has just spun it. I think he was trying to heat up his tyres and he's just spun. That's not gone particularly well for the Alfa Romeo. That's not how you want to start a lap.
Not at all. But he's got plenty of tyres to go through. We'll have to wait and see.
At this point as well.
On this circuit, is the alternate strategy a good way to go? Alfie's thrown himself into P4 currently with the medium tyre there. But do you think it's very much about finding the pace early on to break the DRS and slipstream trains?
Potentially, because of course they do play a pretty big factor. It's hard to get the moves done. You can be stuck behind a car for quite a while if you are in one of those DRS trains. They're pretty deadly on this game in general, and they're not fantastic here either. I'd say overall it's probably still advantageous to do the alternate strategy, because you are able to run a little bit longer and you have that extra chance of a safety car coming to your rescue, which could almost guarantee you a win. So, it's an interesting one, and obviously something the drivers would have focused on. I think Chile was telling me before this race that some drivers have been practicing for about 7 hours today. So I think most of them know what they're going to do. They probably have a race plan at some point during that time. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what sort of strategies everyone goes for. Alfie's lap, though, getting into the 34s on the mediums is not too shabby at all. Of course, beating Rhombus, Viper, Wilson, and of course Connor as well, who's on the medium tires. So yeah, that's actually not a bad shout from Alfie whatsoever. He could be starting in a fairly decent position on those mediums. I'd be very surprised, though, if it's a top 10. It does look like he will have to go onto the softs if he does want to start there.
Now, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news or anything like that. It could rain here. It wouldn't be the first time that I've commentated on a league race at Abu Dhabi in the wet. I didn't know what to say half the race because it was raining in Abu Dhabi. But it could happen. So that could change the whole dynamic of this race. Viper will know all too well about wet Abu Dhabi. He went and won that race. That was a few seasons ago in another league. But at least he's had some practice for it. But if that had, no one would practice this track in the wet, would they?
No. I feel like this is one of those safer ones where you do not give it a go in the wet. There's some tracks where you sort of know, there's a fairly decent chance it's going to rain. I'm fairly sure I've done more wet races in Canada than dry races. So, you sort of have a rough idea where it's going to rain more. But yeah, if it is wet, that'd be pretty exciting. So yeah, we'll have to see what goes on there. Dark's giving it a go on the medium tires. It says he's just gone purple sector 1. Oh no, he's on the softs now. That's why. I was gonna say slightly confused there, but the graphics lying to me. So yeah, Dark apparently though has gone purple sector 1. So this should be a pretty good lap for the Alpine. Obviously he's only done a couple of corners. Still very early on in the lap. But he's now got a long straight. So if he's running higher downforce, he'll be struggling a little bit more here. Very heavy braking zone for the left, and I really hate this curve on the right hand side. If you even touch it at all, it just unsettles the wrist so much as you go through the corner. It's a pretty tricky track, this. It doesn't look it on the face of it, but a lot of these curves can be quite aggressive. It's purple sector 2 as well, so yeah, this could be a pretty good lap. He's really attacking the curves at the chicane. So Dark coming into the final sector now. He's only got a few more corners to negotiate. This is quite a tricky one, not as hard as it was on previous games. You're braking just past the first bit of turning, which was very easy to lock up with, but fortunately the cars evolved just a little bit. So Dark still he's carrying a lot of speed through these corners, so this could be a really good lap, being careful not to invalidate at the final corner now. No oversteer on the exit, run up to the line, and Dark goes up into P3 and a whole 4/10 off Ronha. So was that a lot of time lost in the final sector, or were we being lied to by the game? I'll have a quick check.
Could very well be a bit of both. He did lose. It looked like he lost a little bit of traction through some of that third sector.
Yeah, he lost about 3/10 in the final sector. Oh, hang on, what's gone on there between? I was just riding on board with Dark, and I'm not sure. I think it was Connor and Alfie. I don't know if Connor was on a hot lap, or maybe not. Maybe neither of them were, but it looked like either Alfie or Connor just cut each other off there. I think it might be okay, but that was very nearly a crash.
Not what you want in qualifying, but I have gone on board with Shadow. Give him, obviously the one of the championship protagonists here. Give him a little bit of screen time in qualifying, but he's not yet set a lap time, and the pressure is obviously going to be mounting. He sees his championship rival Ronha currently at the top of the leaderboard in qualifying. I mean, how much pressure does that add to you? You've got 8 minutes left of qualifying, and a track that's notoriously difficult to hook up a lap if things start going wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Very real possibility, and it wouldn't be ideal. But yeah, we've seen before, Shadow and Ronha, both of them, getting to the end of a qualifying session and not having set a lap, and then they just absolutely pull it out the bag. So I think when the pressure mounts, especially on Ronha, we've seen this season, when it really can deliver. Shadow, I don't think it's been quite as strong in qualifying, but his race pace has been pretty good for the most part. We have I think that's a Haas getting out the way on the left-hand side for Shadow here. So we'll have to see what Shadow can do on this lap. I'll keep an eye on his sector times as he's going around as well. I think he did okay in sector 1. It was 17.1 compared to for Shadow. Yeah, so Shadow's actually right up there with Ronha at the moment. So he's on course for a pretty good lap. Oh, until a massive snap of oversteer on the exit from the chicane. And that's not going to help his lap time too much. We'll see what sector 2 split is like in a second though. Well, apparently it's good.
Apparently it's good.
Yes.
Apparently it's really good. And he's
very good. Almost the best.
coming through this third sector. And that's something we're going to know very, very well with these guys, is the longer these qualifying sessions go on, the faster they get. But he's looking really smooth at the moment, really, really smooth. He's just got to keep it nice and tight and between those white lines to make sure he challenges Ronha. But look at WR Wilson throwing it in front of Raceway.
Yeah, that's not too bad at all. And I don't know whether there'll be a little bit of teamwork between Ronha and Wilson or not. But Shadow up into P2. But very importantly, a whole 2/10 away from his championship rival, the championship leader in Ronha. So Shadow, as long as he's not outscored by 21 points or more, is okay. But look at that Finder. We said he was new, and I said he's going to be really rapid. Well, I think he's proving that not too bad at all. Just going slower than Ronha. So Finder throwing his hat into the ring.
Yeah, you weren't wrong with that at all. Very, very quick driver. From a qualifying perspective so far, we'll have to wait and see how the race goes down. But let's have a look at last week's winner as Alfie throws himself into P3, but it's Critch, the McLaren in Sector 3. He's got to keep it tight. I've not seen sector times for him so far, but he's using as much as a track as possible to get away with it, but he's just got to make sure he
Most I've seen on entry as well. That was it didn't look very stable, did it? But yeah, he's exiting the final corner. And that's not horrific. And just behind Dark as well.
Yeah, look at that, 0.4 of a second between them and Ronha from 8th to pole. That's a very, very solid grid we've got going on at the moment. Sparks coming through the final sector as well. Notoriously quick when he's been here, and possibly could have been higher up as he invalidates his lap time if he'd been here through the whole season.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he was someone who right at the start of the season absolutely looked like he would be able to win the championship and really be in there competing. He missed 3 races and he's only 33 points behind. So it makes you wonder, would he have scored 33 points in those 3 races? I would bet probably. He could have very easily been the championship leader, but he is here currently to support Shadow. And I don't think Shadow would be too happy if Sparks wins this race. And, well, I don't know. You know, we might get a situation where if Sparks does win this race, a big if at the moment, albeit, but, you know, if he's right in the championship battle for the last race, he's going to give it a go, isn't he? He's not going to help Shadow. If he thinks he can win, he's going to go for it.
Definitely. I don't think... Yeah,
I
think when it gets down to it, when it boils down to it, I think he will fight for the championship himself. Especially, imagine if Ronha and Shadow have an incident, crash out, whatever you want to say. I'm not wishing it on it at all. And then, like you say, Sparks wins. Then that's, 7 points, is it not? 8 points?
Yeah. Yes, it's right down. Yeah. It's well within like a win and fastest lap. So at that point, you're going to, aren't you? You're not going to play second fiddle or try to help your teammate. You're going to go for it.
Wow.
It's a bigger if, but it's possible.
We've seen weirder things happen in F1.
Oh yeah.
We've
seen weirder things this year here. So
very, very true. I have seen Placky then lose it at the end. Well, turn 20 into 21, completely lost it on exit and made it back into the pits, but he was looking at a quick lap. He's currently P11. He can break into that top 10. I don't want to say quite easily, but he's definitely got the skills to do so. We haven't seen the best of Leopard, Viper or Mulder yet. Days Rhombus we've seen pretty quick as well. Connor's not up there. Chili, Burraps and Clenzo still to set a time. So this top 10 isn't set in stone, so to speak, just yet.
No, absolutely not quite yet. And, everyone's still got their last run, so that it's going to change. People are going to pop themselves in. And, we know Critch can set a great lap. We know Dark can set a great lap. They've just got to find a little bit of time, and they could easily be top 4. So they're not too far off as it is now. They've just got to pull out a couple of extra tenths, maybe, clean up a little mistake that they'd made on their main lap, and give it another go.
Shadow and Alfie leaving it late to get out of the pit stops. Or pit lane, I'm sorry. Though it's a bit of an odd pit lane exit, this one. Not one we see often here in F1 races, but it could cause problems when it comes down to the pits in the race. And, we've got possible safety cars and everything to be thrown at us today.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen that time and time again this season. And, I don't think we're going to get many. We could maybe pick up a safety car if someone does bin it through one of the course, especially coming into the final sector of the lap. It's definitely possible there. If you get a little snap of oversteer and lose the rear end, it absolutely can go. Looking around, Raceway is actually a 10th up already in the first sector, so I think we're going to see some pretty strong times. But Ronha is on his lap, so he is ahead of Shadow. Yes, he is, because Shadow's still on his outlap. So Ronha, the championship leader, by only 6 points as we come into the last 2 races. He's looking to put himself in a fine position to start this race. He needs to outscore Shadow by 21 points to win the championship tonight. It may be a hard ask, but we have seen Stranger. We'll see what his Sector 2 split is like in a moment. Let's see how much he can improve on himself by.
Well, I'll pop back to Ronha in a second. I'm just going to see what Viper can do. Currently in 14th, though we can pop down.
He's currently 3.5 tenths up on himself.
If anyone's going to beat his time, it's going to be him. But we'll look back through the season and we'll go, how crucial his Wood Lutz and Bartak's and Critch's victories be. Viper only manages P11. Oh, Ronha a little bit squiffy.
It was a bit messy there. Yeah. But, it's really messy there as well. I think that was just lag for a second, actually. It looked like he was about to lose rear end completely. But Ronha run up to the line. He improves only by a quarter of a second. Well, only by a quarter of a second. He sets a 33.7. And at the moment, Find Yum is half 10th up on Alfie. We haven't quite... it doesn't show the sector splits half time, which is a bit annoying. Yeah, that's a really useful game. It's normally good at that. Clenzo goes up into P2.
I knew
Where's he been hiding that one?
I knew one of those guys that hadn't set a lap time would throw a complete spanner in the works, and Clenzo's proved the point for me quite impressively. I am aboard with Shadow as he runs down. Dark Killer doesn't think he's going to go any further, so he's retired. Wilson's retired in P6 currently. Those guys are not going to get any faster, but could get dropped down. We've seen a couple of drivers really produce some cracking stuff so far, but Shadow really needs a better qualifying position than P5 as he comes through Sector 3. Loads of people retiring now. They don't think they're going to go any faster. No one's on the medium compound tyre yet. We'll have to see if they start it in the race, but let's see. Here comes Shadow then through the last 2 corners. Can he keep it nice and tight? Can he keep it in the lines? And
definitely tighter than Ronha's was.
It's only P2.
Improved by 4 tenths though. He got a great final sector though, because we saw Ronha's was pretty messy, but that's not too bad at all. He's put himself only 4 hundredths behind Ronha. So for a minute I thought Ronha might run away with this, but Shadow has just absolutely bossed it. And I was about to make a joke with Clenzo about, well, you can't be off your personal best if you don't set a time. Well, that's not too bad, is it? I think he won't be too fussed about that one today. Bear in mind as well, his goal last week was finishing the race, and he's just...
Well, he's set a cracking lap time today, Clenzo. As I think Leopard might be on a lap. I don't know. It seems a little bit of a skew-iffy lap, but not taking as much as the track as he could. He hasn't improved, so Alpha Tauris, you can barely split them.
Yeah. There we go. I realised my microphone cut off for about a second. I was saying, yes, he, last race, like I said, it was quite an important point for his race, just sort of contrast. Last race, he just wanted to finish, and now qualifying P3 for Clenzo. So that's pretty big. I don't know why the mic cut off. That's always what you like to see. But yeah, no, it's an absolutely crazy grid, isn't it? We've got Ronha beating Shadow by 4 hundredths of a second, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And hopefully these two are going to be at it all race now.
Did we see an improvement from Finder Yum in the Ferrari? I'm not sure we did. I don't think we did at all.
No, I was looking at his last lap. He had a pretty good sector 1. He was about half tenth up, but then I think he made a little bit of a mistake in sector 2, and then just wasn't basically able to claw any of the time back. And I don't think he didn't improve in the end. So not ideal for the Ferrari driver, but he was up on sector 1, and it all just sort of fell away from him as the lap went on.
Right then, let's talk down the grid. It's Ronha from Shadow on the front row of the grid. Kind of what we expected. Clenzo in 3rd with Finder Yum 4th. 5th going to Alfie and Sparks down in 6th place. Raceway in 7th. 8th to WR Wilson. Dark Killer in 9th. And WR Matthew in 10th place. Critch and Viper then, a McLaren 11th and 12th place there. Placky in 13th with Mulder in 14th, and Mulder's teammate LCR Leopard in 15th. Burraps in 16th with Dazed Rhombus in 17th. 18th going to Connor. That is probably the lowest we've seen Connor qualify this season. Bourbon Boy in Bourbon Boy 64 in 19th there. And I can't believe I got mixed up with his name then. But yeah, some really, really interesting qualifying positions, and Clenzo really setting the pace for the Mercedes drivers, and these guys going straight away. I wonder if someone accidentally pressed A bit too quickly there.
Someone's eating the race. Let's put it that way. They've got their Deliveroo on the way. They want to get the race over. But yeah, this is pretty good. So normally the drivers would get a good chance to make some last setup tweaks, but I think they've been a bit rushed today, so just the fuel will do. And yeah, look at the strategy. So yeah, we'll have to see. Obviously, it's a dry start to race, but yeah, whatever the weather ends up doing would be pretty interesting. Apparently, people are stuck at loading screens. I think, or is that? I think so. Oh, I don't know. that teaches me to read the Discord chat at the same time. And they're never clear.
This is Codemasters at its best.
Broken lobby, fantastic.
Guys, then in the chat, let us know who you think is going to take victory from this one. Beacon, yourself.
Stays. Oh, okay. I really can't say. I'm gonna go Clenzo. We're gonna up it. We're gonna go. he's gonna go for it today. He's gonna do great.
Fair enough.
I want it. I really want it to happen.
I'm gonna go with a Ferrari driver of Finder Young.
Oh. Okay. Oh, the Ferrari curse could be broken, actually. That's a good point.
Well, Chile, unfortunately, is still holding the curse strong at the bottom end of the standings.
Maybe he's taking all the bad luck today, and he's going to free it up for Finder Young to have a clean race, and it will all go well. Maybe. Pretty unlikely.
Let's have a look at the tyre strategy, because there's some interesting ones in that. Placky and Leopard both going on to the softs outside of the top 10, that is. But the rest are all on mediums. Critch, Viper. You would have, it looks like Mulder and Leopard, team game there. One going on one strategy, one going on the other.
Yep.
McLaren don't look like that at all.
No, they'll have to watch out for each other, especially if we get a safety car at the wrong time. It's very easily they could end up being forced into a double stack, which obviously not ideal. Less of a threat happening, let's say, for the AlphaTauri guys there, or actually the Haas guys as well, because they're both doing the same thing. So yeah, I mean it's pretty useful. But Placky and Leopard really do need to rely on just getting a good start now. I mean that's for every driver, it's needless to say. But it's extra important that they can clear the medium runners ahead of them and just try to work their way a little bit into the top 10. If they can make slight inroads, they should be in for a pretty good race. And don't rule out the two-stop as well. I do think, especially with an early safety car, we're going to see a lot of drivers do that, especially in the top 10.
Two-stop is definitely probable here.
Critch nearly just crashed into the back of Matthew as I was riding on board with him. Exactly try not to repeat that one, lads.
Right then, the penultimate round here at WR, just about to start. The drivers are just getting into their positions now. Ronhar's gone in a pretty quick formation lap there, really. Shadow holding back a little bit. Maybe a little bit of mind games between the two of them already starting. We've seen it all season long, these two battling hard, and it has come down to this. 6 points at the moment, but how is it going to end at the end? Let us know. Keep them coming in the chat with your predictions. But the drivers finally pulling into their positions on the grid. 28 laps on the penultimate race at Abu Dhabi of WR Season 11. Shadow versus Ronhar on the front row of the grid, and we're waiting for everything to go. 5 lights, and away we go. It looks like a pretty strong start there. Colenso might have a run, but he won't. The Ferrari driver's up the inside of him, and he might make the move into turn number 1 there, but he's been, held back a little bit. Alfie's going to go at him up the inside, and Alfie's made a cracking move there, and there's a lot going behind. Dark Killer and WR Wilson having a little bit. There goes Critch, and Viper's going backwards down the grid.
Yeah, Sparks ramming into the back of Alfie there. What's got is absolute carnage going through the corner now. They're all 2x2 as we head down the straight as well. But yeah, it was interesting finding. I mean, he had to take the tighter line at turn 1, meaning he had to just put like a little bit more of the brakes. He wasn't able to carry the minimum speed, and that allowed Clenzo to keep the run on the outside. And Alfie just followed through as well.
There's a McLaren going very, very deep. And that's Critch hitting the Red Bull of WR Wilson, but somehow making a move out of that on Matthew there. I don't think Matthew will be too pleased with that at all. Viper again losing another position to Mulder this time round. There is a Williams, I think, of Raceway struggling to keep in front of Wilson. And there's a contact, I think, Matthew around. I don't know who's he's
Matthew tried it round the outside of Critch, and I honestly have no idea how the car on the outside has spun. That must be some really weird game physics I've never seen before. But I cut between the two cameras. Matthew's on the outside, and all of a sudden facing the wrong way. So yeah, genuinely no idea how that's happened, but he did collide with Critch. And they're so close, all go for a section. But Ronha trying to just pull away from Shadow at the moment. He's got a 6/10 gap. But if he's not able to break DRS, he's going to come under pressure very quickly. He's got one lap to try now to really extend this gap. He's going to struggle. But actually, Clenzo's doing a great job of keeping right with them as well. So he's actually in brilliant shape for this race so far, as is Critch. He's got himself up into P10 on those medium tyres. And he's got Wilson and Raceway ahead as well. And if they're battling, he could try to pick up the scraps.
Wilson looking pretty strong at the moment compared to Raceway. Mel, you're saying... Well, apparently we're saying Finder I'm wrong, but that's coming from a commentator that couldn't say Melanie or Maloney correctly for a season. So, sorry, Mel. WR Wilson then... That's me, Beacon, not you. Wilson...
No, I think I did for about 2 years, so it's okay.
Wilson still trying. I think he's got the overall pace advantage from Raceway, but I don't think he can get with all this slipstream going on. I think Ronha could actually pull away from that DRS zone from Shadow. He's eking it out at the moment.
Yeah, he's really going for it. He's gained about a 10th on this lap so far, so maybe he does have the raw race pace advantage, but once DRS is activated, Shadow's just going to be able to claw it all back. So it's really important now for Ronha. This could be the most important sector of the season for him. Same goes for Shadow. They neither could afford a major mistake here, and I think Shadow is just about going to be able to hold on to it as we do pass the DRS detection line, and he stays just within a second, I believe. We'll have to see if that's just how he's fallen out the second range now, but let's see if he does actually pick it up. I think, yeah, actually at the moment, Shadow has lost it. So Shadow, we said it was going to be an important final sector, and it's not been successful for Shadow at all. He had a couple of snaps of understeer, and it just went all a little bit wrong. And this could be it for Ronha now. He's just going to try to drive off into distance. And Clenzo could be putting Shadow under a little bit of pressure as well, which is only going to help Ronha's championship fight.
Yeah, look at that, 1.5 second. Ronha doing everything he needs to do. Wilson still can't find a way past either, but Clenzo could cause a massive problem for Shadow. Now that gap is in between the two of them. Sparks up into P5 and doing a really great job as well, but I think there's a glitched Mercedes there.
Yeah. Clenzo, it looked like an AI took control under braking, and then he reappeared inside Shadow. So I'm not entirely sure what was going on there, but he has got DRS and he is closing. Is he going to think about the move on the driver who's currently sitting second place in the standings? Where's Clenzo in the standings? He's currently in... I'd say he's not quite used to this season, but you know, if you've got the pace, I know he's got a new rig as well, like new pedals. I'm fairly sure it was that he's been getting used to, and well, clearly they're working.
He's up there by merit today, definitely. It's a shame I don't have the timing screens because I'd really like to see the distance between Shadow and Ronha. It seems to have closed a little bit from but Sparks then through the turns or the chicane of 11 to 13, making a bit of a mess up and having to run off the track, but keeping the position, keeping ahead of the drivers behind for, luckily for him. Matthew then all the way down to 19th, hasn't been able to make any inroads in on those soft tyres of yet, but they are going to start to struggle earlier than he would have wanted to, and the guys on the mediums ahead are in a pure advantage at the moment. But find a Yum in 6th then, trying to get at Sparks here. Sparks could be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, it absolutely does look that way. He pulls over to left-hand side alongside with DRS. It should be a fairly simple move as he pulls over to the right, under braking, cutting off the line. Very neatly done. Textbook move as Sparks, who himself was looking to launch championship fights, losing out to Findium, who is popping in and at the moment doing a pretty good performance. Alfie as well. He's been trying to put Clenzo under pressure, but Clenzo has different ideas on his mind because he's just dived up the inside of Shadow. He's used the DRS to advantage, and could we see Clenzo, if he has the pace now, I mean, you know, he's going to be looking forwards, and there's only one driver ahead of him.
He's going to do the best he can, I am sure of that. But Shadow's not going to like that. He's going to stick to the back end of that Mercedes as best as possible and try and get the position back. These two have got to remember, though, not to fight too hard, because Ronha will then start to run away with it a little bit. Wilson up into 8th place. Raceway down to 10th. So something's happened there, and the Ferrari curse has hit Chile with a 3-second time penalty. But it seems to be going well for his sister car in Findy. I'm in 5th place at the moment. He's starting to find his feet a little bit and really starting to push on a bit.
Yeah, he was helped a little bit by Shadow, sort of condensing Alfie a little bit more towards him. So, yes, it's not going too bad. Look, I mean, realistically, apart from the gap between Ronha and Clenzo, we do have pretty much all the top 9 running right with each other. And Critch, on the alternate strategy, is right there. So he is in great stead at the moment, and you know, if he can maybe overtake a couple of cars before he actually gets to the pit stop period, then he is absolutely in with a shot of winning this race, depending on what all of the drivers ahead of him do. And could maybe Ronha pushing a little bit harder early on indicate maybe a 2-stop or something along those lines? We'll have to wait and see. Clenzo is actually quicker than him at the moment. He is using a little bit more ERS to do it. But the reason... the reason that Shadow was struggling was because he's got no ERS to play with, because he had to use it all trying to keep Ronha, and they're still side by side under braking. There was a little bit of contact with the barge board, but fortunately no damage and no cars facing the wrong way. We've seen moves like that from Shadow and Ronha, and they both end up facing the wrong way this season, so I think a little bit lucky there.
Now, I wonder if Shadow's got more problems. I know earlier in the season he had trouble with tyre temps, and I wonder if he's going through the same problem now, because we've seen him drop down the field and then bring himself back into the fray. He's dropping down the field again and doesn't seem to have an answer for anyone.
Yeah, potentially could be a thing with drivers where they just sort of struggle to get into the groove of the actual race pace. And after 6, 7, 8 laps, you do tend to find it again. You claw in a couple of extra temps. You really get geared in with what your car's handling like during the actual race itself. Oh, I tell you what, that was a massive snap of understeer mid-corner. That car does not look very nice to drive at the moment. I think those soft tyres are beginning to suffer just a little bit. Clenzo has lost touch of Ronha just by a couple of tenths. But it's still not too bad. But I think Alfie is definitely going to be looking to make the time out. But Clenzo has a lot more ERS to defend with.
Yeah, it's hard to point a finger at anyone right now. Maybe Ronha is just controlling the race his way. Doesn't want to go too far out in front and waste all those tyres, or the life on the tyres, sorry, but it doesn't want to, just maybe managing your ERS, and that's what you've got to do as a leader in the race. So you've got so many things to manage, but here comes Alfie around the outside of Clenzo into turn 11, and that could very well be Alfie into P2, and will he be able to catch Ronha, or is this going to be a continual thing with these 3, 4 maybe drivers, 6 down into 7th place? Darkly, you've got to throw in there as well, just to swap positions constantly and unfortunately let Ronha run away with it.
Yeah, potentially at this point. Alfie maybe looks like he's got a little bit more pace than Clenzo did. Obviously, I think it was a little bit of a mistake somewhere, potentially from Clenzo, or just, a bit of a poor lap. And here we go, actually, Clenzo coming into the pit lane. So, coming quite... Oh, God, that was quite close to the pit wall. I can't do a whole race of that with everyone coming into the pits. That's going to break me. But yes, Clenzo, the first one to blink as he comes into the pits, and he's going to put on a set of medium tyres, thus indicating it is a 2-stop for him.
So happy for a 2-stop. I wonder if that will, throw anyone else's mind into this and think maybe now he's done it. It's a 2-stop for me. I mean, in Critch's position, would you 2-stop this?
No. Oh, God, Critch going for the move down the inside. That was really ambitious. But it could just well work because he's going to get a bite of DRS to play with as well here. He's put Wilson a little bit offline. And yeah, I think Critch is going to be able to make the move. He pulls over to the left-hand side, and this should be a textbook from that point. But yeah, I think if you're Critch now, you're looking at this thinking, well, Critch is obviously going to one-stop, isn't he? You'd imagine he's going to one-stop medium hard, and you're not going to lose 20, 21, 23 seconds worth of time, are you? So, yeah, I mean, Critch could actually be in by far the best position in this race at the moment if he does decide to go for that one-stop. He'll be under pressure at the end, but whether it'll be enough is another question. I think we'll have to wait probably till the last couple of laps to find out if he does go for that.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And Raceway being passed by Placky as well into the battle for P9. There are more and more gaps forming in this train, 9th to 8th, and now the gap between 1st and 2nd is over 2 seconds. Ronhard maybe just deciding to turn the screw a little bit. Now he knows Clenzo's in. Maybe that's his plan. Let's have a look at Ronhard. Does he pit?
Oh, Alfie comes in.
Not.
Yeah, Alfie coming in, and I think Findium is as well. Is anyone else going to follow them in? No, not at the moment. It doesn't seem. Everyone else stays out.
No, interesting. Not a load of drives popping in. I thought two-stop would be
I
very.
thought maybe 1 or 2 more.
But here's Critch on Dark Killer. Dark Killer making a little mistake through turn 1 and losing the back end very much. Will Critch throw it up the inside like he did Wilson, or is he just going to pick off prey?
It looks like he might be. He's going to do it, isn't it? No, he did. He thought better of it. There was a little bit of a gap as well. Dark was half expecting it. Go on, you have to send it. But I think nonetheless, he might just about get it. But of course, Dark does have DRS himself. Maybe at the next DRS straight, because he's going to need to rely on a little bit of grip. Well, I don't know. Maybe it depends how much so he can break. He thinks about it. Maybe just putting a little bit of a dummy there, nearly forcing Dark right into the back of Sparks as well. But here we go. Listen, Dark's gone a little bit deep. He's broke a little bit later, and therefore Critch has got the better run. He's got a slingshot from the chicane, and he's now around the outside of the Alpine. This should be pretty simple stuff. He's got more grip, cuts back across the line under braking. That is absolutely brilliant stuff from Critch. Set that one up brilliantly.
Oh, Mulder's tagged Raceway by accident into 11. Mulder has... and I think that's caught Leopard as well. I think that's caught Leopard. I think they're both having problems.
Yeah, and Clenzo and Alfie are battling as well. Clenzo, the undercut working, but Alfie, I think, able to get the move. I'm not entirely sure which way they came out, but they were just battling each other. Alfie has come out on top, though, from that fight. Little bit ahead of Findium as well, who's going to be looking to close his shadow. 3-second time penalty, and he's staying out for one more lap, as is Ronhar. Sparks, though, deciding to come in now, indicating we probably will be seeing Shadow come in next lap, you'd think.
You'd think, but look at that. It's 5.5 seconds between Critch and Ronhar. Critch is in a really, really great place right now. Let's go on board with him as he hunts down Shadow for this lap. He's going to pop himself into a great position for that second DRS straight, because it's down to 8/10 already. And, you know, with the DRS help and probably a healthy dose of ERS down the back this straight, he might get Shadow on that second straight.
Then it'll... Yeah, so I mean, it's probably most likely to be on down the second straight. You don't want to get the move done too early, because it does allow the car behind to basically just swoop back past you. So he'll just hold off just here. Closing in down the straight, and now this is it. He needs to get a good exit, use all of that extra grip that he's got on those medium tyres. He might be a little bit far behind, you know. It'll be a very ambitious dive bomb. We'll wait and see. He's closing, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. It doesn't look like he's going to be, and I think he maybe thought about sending a little bit of a dummy there, see if he could put Shadow off. And I think Shadow, he's definitely a little bit slower through the chicane, but I don't think that was through any design from Critch rather than just those soft tyres being in the best of shape, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I think Critch is putting himself in a great position with that. And I think maybe a little bit of, Shadow really struggling on those tyres. And I think Critch wants to get past sooner rather than later and not get collected as he's looking. He's putting Shadow
stays
in.
Out. Shadow stays out as well. Wow. Okay, this is interesting. Wilson comes in, as does Placky as well. So it's just Ronhar and Shadow staying out. So that means Critch here. Well, this is going to be interesting. Does this mean they're going for the two-stop? Surely it does then. Oh, one stop, sorry. I mean, one stop for Ronha. These two are going for the one stop, Ronha and Shadow. Finding a slap. But now, surely Critch is going to get the move done. He's really wanting to get past. He's losing time to Ronha. And if they're one stopping ahead of him, this is really important. He sends it down the inside. Shadow going to leave the gap because he really doesn't want to pick up damage at this stage in the race. There was a little bit of contact, but nothing too bad in the end. He's using his ERS. It looks like he wants to try to fight this back or just lose as little time as possible. I doubt he's going to send a move on Critch, though, as we come into the second DRS, because then you're just going to be losing more time to Ronha.
Now, I don't think a soft medium is what Ronha and Shadow are going to be hoping for here. Soft hard is probably their preferred choice.
I mean, soft medium is possible, though. If they've taken the softs 10 laps, they can take the mediums a good, like, 18 or so. That should be possible. The soft hard would be safer. But I don't think many of these guys actually want to use the hard tyre. I don't think it's the most high performance compound around here.
Well, they're doing something. Let's have a look at the map and see what is going on. Let's go on board then with Viper, because there's a lot going on here.
Ron has pits.
So will Shadow follow Ronha through all this? It looks like he is. He's going slow.
There we go. Right, so Critch in the lead of the race, and with his one stop, he'll be hoping that it can stay that way. So there we go. They're going on to the medium tyres. They could do 10 laps, 50, about 10. No, it's not going to be worth it. They must be doing the one stop from here, otherwise it's not really going to be worth it. Yeah. They must be going for it. Let's see where they come out, because realistically, Clenzo should have them. He absolutely does. Findy should have them. Alfie should have them, and they do. Ronha coming out the pit lane now. He's going to be battling with Sparks potentially here. Sparks is right behind, but not quite able. He's about a second behind. And Shadow as well coming out all the way down in P16. So he's got a lot of work to do.
Now, imagine if a safety car came out now. That would be music to probably everyone in the top 7's ears. Maybe not Viper, but actually they might be able to double stack the two McLarens. We'll have to wait and see.
They're just about far enough apart from each other. They might be able to give it a go. Oh, I tell you what though, Bourbon Boy's giving it a go on Viper around the outside here. It's not going to have to be around the outside by the time we get to the corner. And behind as well, Chili and Connor are trying to have a go at each other, but not able to get the move done. Chili looks like he's really trying to get past that Williams, but not able to do so. And yeah, just looking ahead as well, that is Bourbon Boy getting ahead of Viper and keeping that position for now. Well, if there wasn't a gap before for the double stack, I think there's more likely to be one now.
It looks like Critch is pulling away from the guys behind as well. Critch has got some pace. It's interesting one that.
Wide, picked up. Yeah, that was very wide. That's not ideal.
But Clenzo keeping up with Alfie for now in the battle for P8. Possibly net P1, these two fighting for at the moment. Obviously, Critch is a little bit of a thorn in their side. And it's a massive chess game right now for these guys. But
Sparks sets past the slap. He's going to be looking to chase down Ronha here. Ronha on the back of Findium. This has actually shaped the race up brilliantly, because now we've got to see Ronha. He wants to win the race, but he's got to overtake Findium. He's got to overtake Clenzo as well. So it's definitely, this strategy's spiced things up a bit, but surely the guys ahead, they're absolutely two-stopping. There's no doubt about that. So what pace are they going to have at the end? They obviously think it's a quick strategy as well. Seeing as well, they could be using the mediums as a throwaway tyre. I would be quite surprised. Ron Husger, I think, get the move done on Fine Diam here quite comfortably under braking, which he does. But I'd be surprised if they are using it as a throwaway tyre, because if they were, they'd have pitted a lot earlier. They were really slow on that soft set of tyres. So I really, they are going to the end on these mediums. As Baraps and Mulder as well.
There's so much going on between everyone. Let's have a look at Chile, and because Alfie has now joined the back of this group of drivers yet to pit, and it's going to maybe cause a little bit of a problem for Alfie, because this could allow... he's surely not going around the outside. He's trying to go around the outside of Chile. What a move. And there's a Williams going off track. I think that is Connor trying to get out of his way. And Alfie, or is it a mistake? But Alfie's got two positions there. And now has a car between him and Colenso. Ronhar gets past Findy, and so does Sparks gets past Connor. So Connor's dropped off massively there. I wonder if there's a problem with Connor's car.
Yeah, he might have done their potential. I don't know if he did end up picking up some damage. Oh, from Tark, having only done 3 laps on those tyres, coming to pit. Yeah, they both retire as well. They know that that's game over. You're looking at, well, A, trying to recover from that, then probably new wings as well. So both of them, I think, learning that it's probably not worth continuing. So unfortunately, they are the 2 retirements from the race so far. But look at that, Alfie pushing Viper around the corner. He's surely trying to make the move now because he is right on the gearbox of that McLaren.
He is. Overall speed is obviously going to be in Alfie's corner. Clenzo trying to make a move on the Ferrari.
Oh, got 3 moves.
Oh, goodness. A bit more going on as well.
Oh, Ronhard going for a dive on Chile. Was there a little bit of contact there? I'm not sure. The camera that I was given was not fantastic there. It looked like there was a little bit of vibrations. But look at this. Ronhard now right on the back of Clenzo. He's got a brilliant run. And that should be Ronhard picking up 2 places in only 2 corners as Findium is getting past Chile as well. So Chile losing another place.
These old mediums started to prove a little bit of a problem for those drivers. That Sparks, I think, trying to get through Chile as well. I wonder if anything's going to happen there. As a McLaren darts out the way of Viper, gets out the way of Ronhard. That's an interesting move from Viper. Will he hold anyone up? I don't think he's going to intentionally hold anyone up. But Colenso there has to get through that McLaren, and that is not an easy car to get through, apart from if you're Ronhard. Mulder passed by Alfie as well. We missed that one, unfortunately.
Oh, well, Ronhard was pushing Mulder around the final corner as well. There's so much more grip and so much more pace through the corners for that Red Bull at the moment. As Clenzo gets past Viper, he's able to make the move. But look how much time he's lost to Ronhard in just that, effectively half a lap stuck behind Viper. That is the pace gap at the moment, and it's pretty telling, especially now. Well, look, Alfie can't get past Bourbon Boy. He's going to give it a go. Actually, Alfie dives down the inside. As we've seen a lot of moves done there today. Ronhard trying around the outside, not able to get it done, but he is side by side. He's got more drive on the exit of the corner, and he does get past Alfie, getting past Bourbon Boy as well. And he's going to try to make the move on Buraps. It's 2 in 1 straight for Alfie as he moves himself up into P2. Bourbon Boy following up as well, just tucking into the slipstream from Alfie and getting past Buraps. And now it's Ronhard's turn to try to get past Buraps. The rear end of that Haas is wiggling around the corner, and that is going to give Ronhard a fantastic chance with DRS now. He's going to get the move done. Surely he absolutely does under braking. And there we go. That was a pretty action-packed 20 seconds.
And it's still happening behind Viper and Findium. And wow. Wilson and Shadow. Shadow, we've barely spoken about since his pit stop. He's now 3.3 seconds behind Chile. Connor has left the session, so the migrating host. I was panicking then. I thought I got kicked. Sparks then trying to get through Clenzo, so he's back into a really, really good way. But Shadow has lost out massively for all this, and Ronhard is up into 4th place. There is, 8 drivers between the 2 of them.
Yeah, at the moment, it's looking great for Ronhard. Make that 9 as he gets past Bourbon Boy down into turn 1. The Bourbon Boy's going to get a little bit of a cutback, but it's not going to be enough. Critch retires. Critch is out of the race. What has gone on for the McLaren there? He was trying the alternate strategy, but it's all gone wrong, and there is a safety car, which means surely we're going to see everyone dive into the pit lane. And this is bad news for the medium runners at the moment, because right now, ideally, you want to be putting on a set of mediums. Maybe they're going to try the softs, but they're going to be slow at the end of the race. And that is great news for Alfie, great news for Ronhard. And we'll have to see where Shadow ends up on with this. Is he going to try something a little bit different? He's got penalty. He's not got track position. Is he going to try an alternate set of tyres to just, give it a go, really?
Wow. What have we just seen? There was no rest for us at all there. Where do we start? But safety car, I suppose, pretty much in the middle of this Grand Prix. Ronhard and Alfie can throw on up another set of mediums, can't they?
They absolutely can, yeah. That's the thing. They can get away with doing that, but the current medium runners can't because they'll, of course, be disqualified for not using the compound. So this is awful news for Bourbon Boy, Buraps and Mulder. The safety cars come a couple of laps too early for them, really. But wow, Critch, he was in fantastic stead in this race, and it's all gone so wrong. I'm not even sure what happened. Obviously, it looked like it was such plain sailing. No one even thought about looking at him. That's disastrous. I'm really gutted for Critch because there was a really good chance that he could have really done something today and won that race potentially. He'd have been really quick at the end. You really do have to feel for him. As here we go, we're going to see everyone come into the pit lane, I imagine now. Interested to see what the medium runners go for. That was, I think that's the only real mystery out there. Everyone else is just going to set on a strap on a set of mediums anyway.
Ron Har doesn't pit. Sparks doesn't pit.
Ooh, okay. So maybe prioritising track position. Shadow doesn't pit either. Okay.
Have you got a feeling of deja vu here? We've got a Red Bull and 2 Alphas, 1, 2, and 3.
Is it round 1 again? Yeah, this is interesting. What does Sparks say? He's going to try to hold up Shadow as much as possible, isn't he? So, this could be. Oh yes, yeah, no, yes, you're right. Sorry, they are teammates. Oh, there's 2 of them. It's so hard to keep track. But yeah, so the medium runners have gone on to their set of soft tyres. So actually, for the first couple of laps here, Bourbon Boy, Buraps and Mulder, they're gonna be the quicker drivers. So let's keep an eye out for them on the restart. They're gonna get their tyres up to Tempolotta, maybe make inroads. Shadow is definitely a risk, I'd say, from Bourbon Boy. If he can get a good start, Buraps could probably get Alfie as well. Anything more than that would be pretty impressive. So, I mean, good luck to them. But yeah, that would be pretty impressive. But as the race goes on, look, they're on slightly worn medium tyres here. Maybe the likes of Clenzo, the likes of Findium, who are on the fresh mediums, you know, just a couple extra laps there. They're not going to hit the same cliff that the other medium runners are. It could get a bit interesting.
Now, I have just checked the chat, and there was a wheel failure for Critch.
Oh,
so,
no.
Not what you want at all.
Oh, that's gutting. It's not. When it's not even your own mistake. Ah. That's gonna take a while to get over. That's a rough one.
So it could very well have been the first double victory since. I'm trying to think. Is it the fourth race of the season?
I think second. So was it second and third? I think because Shadow didn't he not score in the first? I think, and then he got up. I can't remember. One second, let me check the standings. Yeah, second and third race it was since. Yeah, Shadow took the double win, so that was the last one.
And the only double win of the season is still with Shadow as well. That is great to see, but also, you know, I feel so sorry for Critch because I think he could have been the second driver to have it. But safety car coming out is out, and I don't want to say Sparks is just going to throw it up the inside of Ron Har and cause a crash. But it's an interesting situation for Ron Har to be in because he's got 2 drivers who are very, very similar pace to him, just going to be all over the back of him. Sparks has to pit again, no matter what. He's put his...
Well, you see, you say that. This safety car period is going to help a little bit. If it was marginal, I don't know. This is going to be really tough. I think Sparks' job here is just going to be try to get past Ron Har and just do as much as he can to give Shadow every opportunity in this race. It's going to be really interesting because this safety car period is going to help with the tyre wear. And we've only got, realistically, 10 laps of running left. Those tyres can definitely do like 17, 18, 19 laps. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe with the safety car period, Sparks is going to try to hold it out. It's going to be a hard ask. But it's more possible than it was before the safety car, for sure.
I've nearly lost for words. Don't know how this one's going to run out as well. Bourbon Boy, Buraps and Mulder all going to play their part. I am certain of that. Alfie's in a great position. Fresh mediums right to the end.
Oh, here we go. Safety car in. Yeah, Alfie is in great shape as well because, like I said before, they're on slightly more worn tyres ahead of him. All of them are. So the slight advantage that Shadow's getting on Sparks, well, add a couple more laps to that, and you've got Alfie's advantage. So, yeah, this is gonna be really, really entertaining stuff. What's Ron Har gonna do on the restart? Is he gonna go early, or is he gonna creep up towards the line? I'm not sure what you really want to do here because it's not a very long run to the first corner. So I think in this situation, especially if you're Ron Har, you've had good pace so far in the race. You just absolutely bolt and go for it. But we'll see what.
Well, he's holding everyone up at the moment, and let's go on board with Ron Har and see how and when he pans out. Sparks going straight, and I think that is Ron Har's move there, and I don't think it's caught anyone out.
No, it didn't. I think everyone was pretty ready for that one. You sort of know it's going to be through the final corner. And here we go, Sparks is right on his tail. So, obviously we don't have DRS for a while, but he's going to fight him with all of the ERS that he can possibly throw at that Red Bull in front, because Sparks needs to make this move for his teammates' title chances. This is going to be really interesting down the straight, I think.
Definitely is, almost certain it's going to be. But Sparks has got to be careful not to cause his teammate trouble, as he's gone slow through the hairpin and super defensive from Ronha, and I think there's a little bit of weave going back over, all within the laws of the race.
If he doesn't make one more, he should be okay.
But Bourbon Boy having a little go. He's very, very close, and I think he's got the move up the inside, and he's nearly tagged Shadow's back end there, but he's got the move done on Alfie and into P5. I think Alfie knows his game is a long game, so he's just going to sit there for the time being and hope he just gets brought along for the fun. But this Aston of Bourbon Boy is really causing something a little bit of a stir right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Those lovely, fresh, soft tyres are going to give him that little bit extra grip. So, I mean, realistically for Alfie here, is that Bourbon Boy starts putting Shadow and Sparks under a little bit of pressure, but he might struggle to do that. Such is the pace advantage of those drivers. They're absolutely rapid. But Bourbon Boy at the moment, able to hold on with them. So let's see what he can do. I feel like we're saying that a lot this race, but there's a lot of just wait and see, basically, because anything, as we saw with Critch crashing out, anything can happen, and it probably is going to.
All it takes is one mistake from someone as well, whether it be the championship contenders or anyone else, like we see with Critch crashing. Obviously, no fault of his own, but it can throw everything in a little bit of a disarray. Ronha can definitely, I think Ronha and Shadow can definitely make it to the end here, but that penalty to Shadow is going to be crucial, because that's going to drop him down a few places, and if it stays like this, it could very well be 8th or 9th place.
Yeah, very much at the moment. It'll be interesting to see if he can pull out a little bit of a gap, because at the moment for Shadow, it's not looking good at all. And if it stays in this situation, if it is that, 9th place or 8th place, like you say, that is as good as championship wrapped up, as long as Ronha wins this race. So in this current situation, I believe it's Ronha. If he wins, Shadow has to be higher than 8th place. I'm fairly sure that's the stat there. Oh, and there we go. There's something that's Sparks just letting him pass. Was that a mistake? It's led to the spin of Alfie. So there goes Alfie using reset track as well. So I'm not sure if that'll get a steward's report later on. Shouldn't have mentioned that. So Alfie moving down into P14 after a spin. So I'm not sure if that was Sparks slowing down to let his teammate pass and coming back on unfairly. I really don't know what happened there.
No, it was contact between Bourbon Boy and Sparks. So Bourbon Boy went up the inside of Shadow. I mean, Shadow's must be happy with that. He's up into second place and can see his championship rival, but he would not be happy with Sparks being spun there. And Alfie getting caught up with it down into 17th place. That is just heartbreaking for Alfie.
It absolutely is. That's so undeserved, really unlucky. But that's the way it does go, unfortunately, sometimes. So, yeah, it's not ideal. He picks up a 3-second time penalty as well. I think we're going to be seeing him into the pits, which we do, and the 4th retirement in this race, I imagine, as well. There we go. So that shouldn't be a safety car. He's all done it in the pit lane, all fair and square. And now Sparks down into P4, under pressure from Buraps, under pressure from Mulder, under pressure from Viper, and potentially Cleanser as well as this race goes on. So... But yeah, that's massively helped out Shadow, because that 3-second penalty now is only going to... Well, actually, tell you what, it's still going to drop him quite far. I'm going to have a quick look at this. It will drop him down to P6. He'll still be in the championship fight. That's the important bit at the moment.
Mulder's going past there as well, and I wonder if Viper's going to be close enough. I don't think he is. He gets very close at turn 11, but just not enough. And Viper, we've barely spoken about this McLaren driver all day long. It's mainly been about his teammate, who is now out of the race, but he's going around the outside of Sparks. Viper could prove to be yet another thorn in the side of Shadow. These guys are looking racy on those softs at the moment. It's not going to be nice at the end of the race, but they're going to have some pace now and maybe cause Shadow a little bit of a heartbreak. Bourbon Boy hasn't been able to close in on that Alpha, though, as his teammate now down to 7th place.
Yeah, we have to bear in mind at the end of the race, those soft tyres are going to be pretty worn, and they are going to fall off the cliff like we saw at the start, quite heavily actually. Shadow and Ronha very slow. Critch, even on worn mediums, was catching up a lot a lap. It was very comfortable. So Yeah, I think Shadow is actually going to be liking this at the moment because it's actually entirely possible that by the end of this race he's still around P3 or so, P3, P4, depending on how lucky he gets here. So, yeah, from what this could have been, I think Shadow is going to be quite happy, but he's, you know, it's still not ideal. We're going to have Ronha coming into the last race with a pretty hefty championship lead. As long as he really puts in the hours of practice, he should be able to keep it. But anything can happen in the race itself, and anything can still happen now. We thought Critch was going to do really well this race, and we saw how that turned out. But this time, Shadow has DRS on Ronha and 7 laps to do something with it. So, again, could we be seeing a little bit more drama between the championship leaders as well? It's been a while since they've had a go at it on track at the front.
We just see Chile get past Clenzo as well. That Chile is now the lead Ferrari driver as well. Let's go on board with Viper, as I'm sure he's going to go try and round the outside of LCR Mulder. But I think Mulder might hold on, switch back on cards for Viper up the inside, and Viper not able to get the move done. Or is it very, very close between the two of them? Is that finally? No, they're still side by side through 14. Viper pushes Mulder out a little bit wide, but finally gets the position, and Viper wants to be a little bit further up the grid and really challenge it. I think he's got the bit between his teeth a little bit.
Yeah, at the moment, not looking too... He's giving it a go, though. Actually, I tell you what, the Bourbon boys really close in on Shadow as well, so this is... This could be a pretty fun fight. Bourbon boy able to escape the DRS momentarily, albeit from Buraps, who's just been able to claw back a 10th through that final corner. Vipe able to pull ahead of the Mulder as well. Chili right on the back, and Clenzo right on the back of Sparks as well. It looked like it was going to be a great race for Clenzo at one point, but it's all just sort of fallen away. Just a little bit pitted a little bit earlier than everyone else. He's the first one to come in. He hasn't had an awful race, though. This is a big improvement on what he was able to do throughout pretty much the rest of the season. He's definitely, I'd say, got a brighter future coming into especially the next race and however further forward he goes.
Nothing on Shadow yet from either end. He's getting very close to Ronha, though. And you wonder, oh, look how close he gets to the back end. And I wonder if he's going to make the move this time. Viper's 2 seconds behind Buraps, having to defend from Mulder.
I think Chili might have hit Mulder potentially. Yeah, I'm not so sure what happened. I think Mulder... I think Chili might have driven into the back of Mulder because it looked like Mulder, he had a very loose rear end through the corner, and I don't think it had been stamping on the throttle halfway through the chicane. And wow, Chili's going to give it a go round the outside. That was way too ambitious. Well, speaking of, Sparks has just tried to dive up the inside of 2 effectively, and he has paid the price for that. Sparks in the wall, and that is his any thought of a championship fight over as well. And it does look like at the moment, coming into the last race, it's going to be between those two. What's going on there?
God.
Oh, Clenzo as well.
There's a Mercedes of Colenso and Finder Yum have gone. What? The free wide with WOR Wilson
again
through 15, 16 and 17, and that is not what you want to see. But there's no safety car. You would have thought with that all going off, someone would have lost a wheel or someone would have lost something, but it's all cool at the moment.
I just saw on the stream what happened. I thought Clenzo and Findian would have collided, but no, they both just got involved in something at the same time. That's absolutely crazy. Right, we've got 5 laps to go, and we have Shadow right on the back of his championship leader as well. But right behind, we've got some soft runners who want to throw their hat into the ring. And at the moment, Shadow on course to finish P5 with that penalty, which is that's pretty rough. Pretty rough for the rest of the season. He has to pull out a 3-second gap. At the moment, it doesn't really look like it's going to go that way unless he can really get a car in between himself and the soft runners behind. He's closing on Ronha, and actually, you know what? I think he's closing quite a bit here. Shadow could be about to take the lead of the race. He goes to the outside line. Shadow, is he going to do it? He is side by side with Ronha. He's ahead under braking, and Shadow takes the lead of the race. And this is a race that Ronha has been dominating. And if he comes under pressure now from the soft runners behind, he could begin to struggle. He is on fairly worn medium tyres now, and Wilson is I think too far back to really make a go of it, so the threat is the soft runners now. This has thrown a little extra spice into the end.
I think Ronha might very well be just saving some of that ERS, but like I mentioned before, you know, at the beginning, Shadow always seems to struggle early on with tyre temps, and then he's just there at the end. He does everything he needs to do. But Ronha knows he doesn't have to fight Shadow. He doesn't really need to attack too much because he's within that 3 second. So just keep on with Shadow. Just keep the battling through. As this Raceway
Where's this pace from Shadow come from as well, though? That's the... You know, it looked like early on in the race he was really strong. Actually, Ron Haar's just taken the perfect line for actually Kane. I haven't seen many drivers actually do it today, not been quite as aggressive in the race, but that was absolutely perfect. He gained about 2 tenths, losing it a little bit through the quad. But look at Shadow go at the moment. He's doing an absolutely brilliant job. However, he is going to come under pressure again, and we will see yet again this season the 2 championship leaders going wheel to wheel on track, because I think Ron Haar is absolutely going to give this a go now. And, you know, he knows the more that he battles with Shadow, the more places Shadow's likely to lose with that penalty. And here we go, he's closing. This should be fairly simple. He's going to go for the inside line. Surely he does. This could allow, however, Shadow... Oh, Bourbon Boy breaking very late, but now Shadow's going to try to get some form of cutback, but he can't quite get far enough alongside Ron Haar, not quite going deep enough to give Shadow that opportunity.
Now, was it when Rosberg won the title, Hamilton was slow and holding up Rosberg? Could we be seeing this from Ron Haar? Could we be seeing him just a bit of gamemanship, I suppose, just holding him up a little bit? And
yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's going to work, because Chile's a little bit far behind. It's going to be pretty challenging, but I suppose it's just to ensure that Shadow can't pull ahead of a couple more cars. But nonetheless, I think the DRS is just so strong here that, you know, Shadow genuinely can overtake. It is very much possible. Oh, and Mulder going for the move down the inside at turn 1. That's impressive.
These two looking very, very racy. Wilson and
Oh,
Matthew.
Shadow
picks up another penalty.
That's absolutely massive. Shadow trying to take the line that Ron Haar did last time out, but picking up another warning, and thus another 3 seconds time penalty. And what does that mean for the championship now? That's 6 seconds. That is going to put, very likely, well, he's going to regain the lead of the race as well, Shadow, as he turns to the inside line on Ron Haar. He gets the move done. Bourbon Boy nearly into the back of Ron Haar as well, under braking. But now Ron Haar, oh, big snap post it on the exit, but I think he's going to regain that position. Shadow making the move a little bit too early potentially, but looking at the timings now, it seems that, oh, this could be quite close. It's going to be P6 or P7 for Shadow by the looks of it now. And that's pretty big. And Matthew, I think, has just done 2 cars in one go there. As Wilson up the inside of Mulder. They're still going side by side. Mulder trying round the outside. There's a little bit of wheel banging with the sideboards as well. And they're still side by side. They're still going at it. But it is Wilson who comes out on top. And now Plackey trying to give it a move as well. He thought about going to the inside line. But such is the nature of that corner, it does turn into a bit of a pinch. We have a yellow flag as well, so I'm not sure what's gone on there.
This battle for P7 is absolutely incredible. But we have to go back to...
Oh, wow. Matthew just had a massive snap over, so he went on the sausage curb on the exit. And this could present Wilson with the chance, especially under DRS now. That was an absolutely massive moment. He did really well to hold that.
So,
oh, he's got
Bourbon
again,
Boy,
isn't he? Oh.
will he make a move on Shadow? 6 seconds. I'm just trying to think where that will put Shadow.
Matthew's just lost it again. I think, well, that's a massive help to Shadow, because Matthew was actually within that 6 second window, just about. But I don't know what's happened to Matthew. I think his rear end's just completely gone. He nearly lost it 2 corners in a row. 2 absolutely fantastic saves. And it's Shadow and Ron Haar again going side by side as they come into the rather long chicane now. Oh, it's absolutely brilliant stuff. And now Ron Haar going to get the move back again on his championship rival. This is going to take the record for the most overtakes between the race. But now Bourbon Boy's looking to join in. He's going on the outside of Shadow. Shadow really having to defend this, braking really late. Nearly into the back of Ron Haar as well. That was really well defended and perfectly judged in the end by Shadow, just to keep Bourbon Boy behind. But that is proof that you can't afford to let off. You can't go for that move too early, because if you don't have DRS down that straight, Bourbon and Buraps can retake advantage. What's going on there?
I don't know. Everything seems fine on my side, so I don't know what was going on.
I thought I heard a noise.
So, there's plenty of noises going on. Bourbon Boy somehow hasn't made a move on Shadow or Ron Haar yet. Ron Haar on the penultimate lap, still leading this Grand Prix. Shadow needs a new place to overtake. and find a way through. At the moment, Shadow, I think, goes to P6. Wilson is clawing some of this time back, though. Wilson and Chile trying to get themselves back through it all. Viper is their target next, I think. And Viper's time to Burraps just seems to be a little bit all over the place. 1 minute's 3.5 seconds, and the next minute's 2.9.
Yeah, that's absolutely, that's a really good point as well. Bourbon does have ERS here. He's got a lot more ERS to play with, and I think that was the first time we've seen him really use it when he was able to get alongside Shadow. Shadow, however, doing absolutely brilliantly to fend off that attack. And Shadow going for it again. Why does he keep going for it there? There's no way he's going to keep the position. It's an interesting one. I don't know if he's trying to maybe set up Bourbon Boy to get past Ronha or something. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. Oh, this could easily be 3 wide now. As Bourbon Boy surely going to take it, and he is. He's going to get past Shadow. Now, is he going to try it down the inside of Ronha? No, not quite. He stopped using his ERS. But now Bourbon Boy, he looks like he could potentially win this race. Ronha really leaving the door open there, but he does not choose to put the Aston Martin nose right down the inside. And this has got a bit more interesting now.
What has Bourbon Boy done to those tyres to keep them alive for so long? Him and Burraps are doing a phenomenal job on those soft tyres right now. It really should be the medium's day, but they are really going for it. Chile picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's going to be a problem for him. Going to drop down a few. I think that's his second one, so I think that's 6 seconds there. But Bourbon Boy really giving it to Ronha. I wonder what the ERS situation is like for Ronha, because it doesn't look great from the onboard camera screen. And Shadow and Burraps still to look as well.
Bourbon's on about 50%, and Ronha's only got about 20%. So it's maybe enough to fend off for this last lap, but maybe not through all the points of it. And Shadow really wants Ronha to win this race. It is of utmost importance. We've also seen, I think is that Mulder potentially gone around there? It is Mulder that's gone round through the S's section. And this is it for Bourbon Boy. He has this then one more to try to get the move done on Ronha. He's going to go down the inside, but he's going to be under pressure on the next straight. Has he gone too early? We'll have to wait and see. He's got loads of ERS, and Shadow diving up the inside to ensure that Ronha cannot win this race. They're still going at it. And for a second there, I thought I could see that Red Bull veering to the left-hand side with the contact. And that is Shadow doing his job fantastically well. He has ensured that Ronha does not win this race. He dives up the inside on Shadow and pushing him a little bit wide there. Could this allow Burraps to get the move done on Ronha as well? It doesn't look like it for the moment, but Bourbon Boy, wow.
What we were not expecting at all. I did think it might be a different driver winning it, but not this one. Bourbon Boy's done a phenomenal job. He just needs to keep it safe right now. Shadow, I don't know if that's going to help him or hinder him, because he's dropped a lot of time doing that defensive work on Ronha. He's going across the line in P2. But Bourbon Boy wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix on the penultimate race of this season. Ronha in second, Burraps in third. Viper will come home in fourth, with WOR Wilson fifth. And sixth. Look at the timing between Shadow and Matthew.
Wow. Oh, if this championship comes down to 2 points, then that's going to be interesting. That's going to be the most important half a tenth for the season, I think. Wow, that was a fantastic race. And a brilliant drive from Bourbon Boy coming across the line to pick up a win. That is absolutely phenomenal stuff. I said to safety car, oh, it's not helped the medium runners at all. Well, they're first, third and fourth, so it shows what I know. But they've done absolutely brilliantly there to claim the win and just keep those tyres alive. That is phenomenal.
What a great drive in the end there from Bourbon Boy, and possibly driver of the day from the game. Actually, there you go. It's popped up. So. The game has given it to him. He's gained 18 positions. He did exactly what he needed to do. Maybe had a little bit of help from Shadow in the end. But you've got to beat what's in front of you. And that is all that he did in the end. Bourbon Boy takes victory here in Abu Dhabi. And we'll do a quick rundown before we see if anyone joins the waiting room in this tasty Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. I've really enjoyed this one. Let's have a look, though. Bourbon Boy taking victory from 19th on the grid. Ronha in second place, and Burraps rounding out the podium position. What a race for him, and what a race for this man as well. Viper in fourth place. WR Wilson starting 8th and finishing 5th. Shadow down in 6th place there. WR Matthew in 7th with Plackey in 8th. Leopard in 9th with Dazed Rhombus in 10th place. 11th, Chile, so close for points for Ferrari.
Oh, no.
There. Finder Yum in 12th. Mulder in 13th. Colenso's car, I do believe, finished in 14th there. And then
AI,
DNFs for Raceway Sparks, WR Alfie, NRX Critch, Dark Killer, and WR Connor. Your driver of the day, please, Beacon.
I think there's one pretty fair answer here. Ron Hard did a fantastic job for most of the race, but Bourbon Boy, P19 to first. Yes, he had help with the safety car, and his strategy definitely paid off in the end. He was able to just hold that ARS better than everyone else, not getting involved with the fights, just sitting back, really give it a go, and he absolutely made the most of it. So I think it's very much fair to give it to Bourbon Boy here, as much as Ron Haar's race was almost perfect.
Now, I'm going to go somewhere different from this. WR Matthew, being pretty much dead last on lap 1, still somehow managed to hold it out and get through. Obviously, the safety car helped him, but you know, you've got to be there at the end of the day and really push it, and that's exactly what he did. And you know, fair play to him. I'm going to give him driver of the day just for that, not taking anything away from some of the other drivers, but some phenomenal driving out there. I am just going to see if anyone does pop. We'll give them a couple of we'll do what we did last week, give them a couple of minutes and see what happened, and we can digest some of the action that's happened today. And you know, Critch, I feel like we're going to be talking about this. This could have been huge, even bigger than Shadow managing to hold off Ron Haar and allowing Bourbon Boy the victory there. But yeah, what do you say for that?
I don't think there's a lot we can. I think the Bourbon Boy wow sums up that race quite well. That was absolutely brilliant stuff, and some real close racing. For the most part, actually really, really clean racing as well. Obviously, there were a couple of instances that stewards are definitely going to need to take a look at, but I mean, look, for Shadow there, that's been a pretty good redemption. He stopped Ron Haar winning the race by just putting him under as much pressure as possible and allowed Bourbon Boy to take the win. It does, however, mean it's going to be really hard for Shadow in the last part of the season. He's only, I think he's, 16 or 14 points behind Ron Haar now. So it's going to be a challenge, but it's, it's better than being completely out the running like it looked like it could be the safety car restart. So I honestly don't know. I think I'm going to need to rewatch that race a couple of times before I even begin to understand what just happened.
Some crazy stuff happening. Ron Haar then finishing 2nd place, not what we expected. Especially after that qualifying performance, we thought Shadow and Ron Haar were going to run away with it. Shadow, I mean, is there problems with his tyre heating at the start of races? Is that something that we've now seen and going to comment on moving forwards? Is it something that he can learn to get away from this?
Well, potentially. That's the big thing looking forwards. We've seen it a couple of times this season, like you say. So, I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see whether he just doesn't feel like he's quite at it at the start of the race, or once you get passed by one car, it is really hard. Not even to regain your composure, just to get back online, really get your mindset completely focused and not make any more mistakes. Because you could be offline, then you come under more pressure, then you're having to take more defensive lines, and it all just sort of spirals from there. So is he sort of suffering from that at the start, or like you say, tyre temps just not quite working for him? Or wow, it's a lot to digest, definitely.
Yeah, plenty to digest. I believe we might be getting Bourbon in here.
That would be rather cool.
It would be great to have the victor come into this and give us a chat. We will wait and see. Obviously, it might take a little bit of time for him to pop through.
Get a microphone.
But he can't see the waiting room.
Can you not see the waiting room? No. Right, so I'll hashtag it. See if he can.
See if he can join from that way. Oh no, I think he's found it. I think he's found it.
Good.
Let's bring him in and have a chat with Bourbon. And well, here he is. Welcome to the podium questions, and what a race, Bourbon. What were you thinking through all that? Did you ever think victory was on the cards?
Can you hear me? All good?
Yes.
Yep.
Didn't expect that at all. Obviously, his safety car massively helped me. Put me into P5 and on the flash softs, and I didn't think they would have lost really, but it was the only choice I had. So yeah, when I unfortunately tapped Sparks a bit, unfortunately, I didn't really want to do that, but it is what it is. And then I slowly made my way through, and then realised I could get one on the last lap.
So what was your strategy really there going into the last couple laps? Was it just try to save as much ERS as possible, assume that Ronha and Shadow are using all theirs up, battling each other, and then just, give it one last send at the end?
To be honest, yes. In the Xbox Pie, they told me not to go for the win, but
Not gonna turn that down.
yeah, not gonna. Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of the plan. Sit behind. I knew Shadow had no EOS, so I was hoping he would be behind Ronha, so that I can maybe get a double slipstream. But then obviously when I overtook Shadow, obviously could just keep up with Ronha easily. And then yeah, it just happened, to be honest.
What if you have any?
Well, like you filled in today, really, more than anything. Did you have any practice for Abu Dhabi? Was it all just jumped in and raced and just thought, I'll do whatever I can do?
I did practice a bit, because I did look at attendance before and there was a chance I could race, so I did do a little bit. So, yeah, really, I don't really know what to say.
No, you've done a brilliant job, haven't you? And I mean, as well, it's sort of that thing of you've managed to beat drivers who were practicing for most of the day as well. So that obviously makes it a little bit sweeter.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of, yeah, definitely.
Well, we'll leave you for a couple of minutes and bring in another PSR driver. PSR Burraps, welcome and congratulations on your great race there for yourself as well. Finishing third in the end. Is that something that you were expecting at the start of this Grand Prix?
Absolutely not. To be completely honest, I didn't actually prepare too much for this one, which is why I started towards the back of the field. But yeah, we got a little bit lucky with the safety car timing, but that happens in racing. And myself and Bourbon were obviously able to capitalize and take home a double podium today for the PSR boys.
It's not been I don't want to have a. It doesn't want to sound like having a dick, but it's not been a great season for you. But you've shown glimpses of really, really strong pace. Is this something that you're going to try and move on in the last race of the season?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Brazil is the last race for us. That's a strong track for me personally, and definitely feel like I could put up a good result there as well. But yeah, no, just haven't had the best luck this season in WOR. Definitely have acclimated a little bit better to racing with the top guys on Xbox this season, and looking forward to continue proving that as we go along.
Yeah. I've got to say as well, I think this might be the most surprised podium we've ever had. So yeah, I think you've all done absolutely brilliant jobs today to go out there and fend off and fight with the championship leaders. So massive well done to all of you, and I'm sure you're going to be trying to repeat that as we go on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, Bourbon, final words from you, I suppose. It's a victory if you're here next week. if do you think you can spoil the spotlight again?
I'll probably have more. I'm better at Brazil, but so is everyone else. So I do have the pace. It's just whether I can capitalise on it. So yeah, GG2, perhaps on 1/2. So good final lap.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, you two. Beacon, final words for you before I round out this week's show.
Apart from the traditional thank you to all of the drivers for putting on what was again a brilliant race to watch, and everyone for sticking with us throughout the night. Apart from that, I think we've covered most of it. It's been a pretty entertaining race, and I'm sure there's more to come in the final round as well, as we have the championship battle between the top two.
Yeah, everything is on the line. Shadow has somehow managed to keep his hopes aflame, especially after those penalties as well. Sparks and Square mathematically out now. Brazil will be the final showdown and rundown of how it all goes down. 16 points separate the two of them at the moment. That's a long ask for Shadow. Now, there is other championships on the decider as well. We have plenty of racing action throughout the week. So WOR has, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Sunday all booked out with Xbox and PlayStation and PC racing action. Go and make sure you check out the Twitter for all the action. But from Beacon and I, thank you so much for watching. It's been a hell of a season. We've got one last race. That is next week, the Brazilian Grand Prix, the way an F1 season is meant to finish. Good night.
See you there.